Bat and the End of Everything. Chapter 22. Pancake Juggling. It was such a great trip. My cousin Robert has chickens, so every morning we went out to the coop to collect eggs, and we could eat as many as we wanted. They were delicious, way better than store-bought eggs, and their yolks were orange instead of yellow. And we went swimming every afternoon, and we slept in bunk beds. My cousin Robert knew about a million jokes, and he can juggle. You would have loved it. Israel was home at last. He was darker from the sun, and maybe taller too. He had gotten home the day before. The first thing Bat and Israel were going to do together was visit Baby Cakes at Jenny's house. Israel's dad, Tom, was driving them there in his truck. Then later they would go back to Bat's house for a sleepover. What did he juggle, clubs or balls? Bat asked. Lawrence can juggle clubs too. Lots of people can. He can juggle anything, Israel said enthusiastically. Clubs, balls, toys, spoons, you name it, he can juggle it. Apples? Bat said. Yup, said Israel. Calculators? Bat said. Definitely, said Israel. Pancakes, said Bat. Pancakes, said Israel. Yes, said Bat. Pancakes. Israel thought about that. I don't know, he said. Pancakes are pretty floppy and sticky. I'm going to learn to juggle pancakes, Bat said, even though the thought of floppy, sticky pancakes in his hand made him uncomfortable. Okay, said Israel, and he grinned at Bat. He had a big, happy smile, and Bat loved it. He smiled back. Here we are, Tom announced, pulling up in front of Jenny's house. Last stop. This is the first stop, Bat said. Later you are taking us to our house, to my house. Tom turned around and to look at Bat in the truck's narrow back seat. He smiled. We missed you, Bat, he said. And then he said, okay, I'm going to run to the grocery store. I'll be back to pick you boys up in an hour. Maybe Jenny had been watching for them from the front window, because she opened the door before Bat and Israel had gone all the way up the walkway. Hi, Bat. Hi, Israel, she said. Hi, Jenny, said Israel. Where's Baby Cakes? Asked Bat. She's in my room, Jenny said. Come on in. Bat and Israel followed Jenny into the house and down the hall to her bedroom. Did Bat tell you that Baby Cakes was sick? Jenny asked Israel. Yes, said Israel. How is she now? She's great. We gave her all the antibiotics. Bat's mom is amazing. She even came to our house to check on Baby Cakes. Jenny's bedroom door was open. Bat could see Baby Cakes' hutch and the white fluffy shape of Baby Cakes inside it. Hey, Baby Cakes, Israel said. The bunny looked up. Her whiskers twitched as if she were saying hello. Her eyes were clear and bright. Her head was straight, not tilted at all anymore. She looked freshly brushed, and her food dish and water bowl were both full. Jenny, Bat said, you are an excellent animal caretaker. Jenny's face turned red. Thank you, Bat, she said. That means a lot coming from you. After they all petted Baby Cakes and told her what a good, fluffy bunny she was, Bat and Israel and Jenny went into the kitchen and drank the orange juice her mom had poured for them and ate some cookies. They were not as good as the cookies Janie made at home, but Bat didn't say that out loud, even though it was true. Then Jenny asked Israel, how was your trip to Canada? And Bat had to listen again, as Israel told Jenny all the stuff he'd already told Bat, about the chickens and the swimming and Robert's amazing juggling. My cousin Robert is really cool, Israel told Jenny. He's probably coming to visit me next spring. His parents say they can put him on a plane all by himself, and we can pick him up from the airport, and he can stay for a whole week. Is he your best friend now? Bat said. He hadn't meant to say that out loud, and as soon as he did, he wished he could pull the words back into his mouth. What? Said Israel. Nothing, said Bat. Never mind. Bat, said Israel. Robert is my cousin, and he's cool, and he can juggle anything. Well, almost anything. But you're my best friend. Bat smiled. I'm glad you're home, he told Israel. Me too. Israel answered. Even though I'm going to miss those eggs. When Bat and Israel were back in Tom's truck driving to Bat's house for their sleepover, Israel said, Bat, I want to ask you something, but promise not to get mad, okay? I can't promise not to get mad, Bat said. I don't know what you're going to ask. Israel blew out of his mouth, making a sound like a deflated balloon. Then he glanced up at his dad, who was looking at them in the rearview mirror. Tom smiled a little, which seemed to encourage Israel to speak. Well, try not to act mad. Like, don't yell or say anything mean. Bat nodded. He couldn't help his feelings, but he could try to help how he reacted. Like when he was around Thor. Then, even if Bat had big uncomfortable feelings, he tried to remember not to make big, scary, loud noises or move too quickly because if he did, Thor might spray. Bat could make the sounds and move his body around, but not in the same room as Thor. I'll try, Bat promised. It's about your skunk, Israel said. I'm worried about what's going to happen when you let him go. Bat didn't like thinking about releasing Thor into the wild, and he didn't like talking about it either. But he remembered how it felt to talk about it with Jenny, and that day in her bathroom. It hadn't felt good, but maybe it felt better than not talking about it. I'm worried too, Bat said, at last. I don't know how he's going to find food, or if he will know how to find a dry place to sleep when it rains. Prickly tears filled his eyes. Oh, said Israel, I didn't even think about those things. Bat, said Tom from the driver's seat as they pulled up at a red light. Israel is worried about you. About me? Bat asked. Yeah, said Israel, about you. Israel was worried about him. The ache in Bat's chest came from worrying about Thor. I felt a little bit better, knowing that Israel was worried about him. Not all the way better, but a little better. Are you going to be okay? Israel asked. It took Bat a long time to answer, because his throat felt too tight for words to get through. When he did talk, his voice cracked and hurt. I'm going to be really, really sad, he finally said. Israel sighed and dropped his arm around Bat's shoulders. Me too, he said. Tom looked at them in the rearview mirror. Me three, he said. The three of them sat quietly in the cab of the truck, engine rumbling. Then the light turned green and they started on their way again. Chapter 23, Family Meeting. Hey, Bat, isn't that your dad's car? Israel asked when Tom pulled up his truck to the front of the house. Yes, that was Dad's little yellow sports car, parked in the driveway next to Mom's burgundy wagon. It's not an every other weekend, Bat said. He only comes over on every other weekends. Israel followed Bat up to the front door. It was unlocked. Bat pushed the door open. Mom, he said. We're in here, said Mom from the kitchen. Israel trailing behind. Bat went into the kitchen. There was his mom and his dad and Janie all sitting at the table. Janie had her laptop closed in front of her. Hey, sport, Dad said. Bat, your dad dropped by because he wanted to talk about something, and I agree. It's time we have a family meeting about Thor. I think maybe I should go, Bat, Israel said. We can do the sleepover another night. No, said Bat. Stay. You're my best friend. Please stay, Bat's mom said. So Israel did. They all sat around the kitchen table. Bat's dad sitting on the kitchen stool because there weren't enough chairs for everyone. They were going to tell him that it was time to release Thor. Bat was sure that that's what they were going to say. But it wasn't the right thing to do. Bat felt certain about that. He and Thor belonged together, and he wasn't going to let Thor go without a fight. I don't want to let Thor go into the wild, Bat said. It felt so good to say the words out loud, the words that he'd been thinking all summer. I want to keep him forever. I'm the best skunk caretaker for Thor, and he belongs with me. Bat folded his arms across his chest, ready to fight with everyone. I agree, said Israel, even though he wasn't family, and this was a family meeting. Bat loves Thor, and Thor loves Bat. Bat smiled at Israel. He was so glad his friend was home from Canada, and he was glad that Israel was on his side. Israel smiled back with all his teeth. "You are a good friend, Israel," Bat's mom said. "Thank you," said Israel. "Bat's a good friend, too." It felt good to know that at least Israel agreed with him. And then Janie spoke. "I think Bat should keep Thor, too," she said. "Really?" said Bat. His arms loosened in surprise. It was true that Janie had gotten nicer about the skunk since the night Thor sprayed her at her school play. She had given Thor a hairbrush, and she'd taken pictures with him, and she'd sometimes visited Thor in Bat's room. But Bat would never have guessed that Jamie would want Thor to stay. "Yes," said Janie. She opened her laptop and pressed a few keys. "Look," she said, and then she turned the laptop around so that everyone else could see it. "Remember Dr. Jerry Dragoo, the skunk expert Bat wrote when we first rescued Thor?" Dr. Jerry Dragoo was the founder of the Dragoo Institute for the betterment of skunks and skunk reputations, and he had told Bat that even though skunks don't usually make good pets, what makes a good pet is a good caretaker, and that had made Bat determined to be the best possible caretaker for Thor. "Well," said Janie, "I wrote him. I sent a bunch of pictures of Bat and Thor that I've taken over the summer. See?" And there were the pictures. Thor on Bat's lap, his eyes closed in pleasure as Bat groomed him in Jamie's hairbrush, Thor eating a meal that Bat had prepared, the vegetable garden that Israel and Bat had planted, green and full with a little painted sign that read, "Thor's Garden." Bat with Thor draped across his shoulders, their noses touching. "I told Dr. Jerry Dragoo how much you love Thor, and what a good caretaker you are," Janie said. "I told him how gentle and kind you are with him, and how you stay calm around him, even when it's hard for you. I told him that Thor has only gotten scared enough to spray one time, and Dr. Jerry Dragoo wrote me back." "Read us the email he sent, Janie," Dad said. Janie turned the laptop back around and read. "Dear Janie," she began, "thank you for sending the pictures of Bat and Thor. It is clear that Bat is an excellent caretaker, and that he and Thor are very attached to each other. It's almost always best for a skunk to be returned to the wild. But in a situation such as this, when the skunk has bonded to his caretaker, and when the caretaker has bonded to the skunk, the best decision for both boy and skunk would be for them to remain together. Bat and Thor are very lucky to have each other, and Bat is very lucky to have a sister like you." Janie looked up from her laptop grinning. Bat could hardly believe it. "Is that why you took all those pictures?" he asked. "Yes," Janie said, "for evidence." To Bat, love meant doing things. Bat showed Thor how much he loved him by feeding him and cleaning his litter box and grooming his coat. And right then, sitting in the kitchen, Bat felt more certain than he ever had that Janie loved him, because of what she had said and done for Thor, because of evidence.